Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Manchester woman arrested after gun found in a bag. A Manchester woman has been arrested for the seizure of an illegal gun in the community of Compound in Alligator Pond on Wednesday morning. A senior police source said about 7:30 a.m., a .38 revolver was found in the woman's possession, along with 17 assorted rounds found in a bag she had. She was seen acting strange, which aroused a police suspicion, and she was apprehended and searched, the source said. "We are doing further investigations into the incident," the source added. This follows last Tuesday's incident, where a 21-year-old man was arrested after illegal firearm was seized at Top Bay in Alligator Pond. St. Anne police urged remaining escapee from Outrageous lockup to surrender. Of the 4 men who escaped the Outrageous police lockup in St. Anne last August, only one remains on the run. He is 42-year-old Dennis Coburn of Islington St. Mary, who has been charged with rape. Last December, another escapee, 40-year-old Terence Harrelard of Claremont, was killed by a cop during an operation to apprehend him. The other 2 men have already been recaptured. They are 22-year-old Javar Grant of Party and 30-year-old Jermaine Rogers of Mile End in Outrageous. Both had been charged with illegal possession of firearm. Head of the St. Anne Police Division Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell is appealing to the remaining escapee Dennis to surrender.
On Friday, August 5th, 2022, sometime between the hours of 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., 4 male prisoners escaped custody at the Outrageous police lockup. 3 of these prisoners have since been recaptured. They are Jermaine Rogers, Terence Harriel, and Javar Grant. 1 prisoner still remains at large. Is Dennis Coburn. Dennis Coburn is of an Islington address, and at the time of his escape, he was charged with the offense of rape. We are using this opportunity to appeal to Mr. Coburn to turn yourself over to the police. Any police station across the country will suffice. Just to let you know that we are continuing our relentless effort to apprehend you, so you're advised to turn yourself over by the latest Friday of this week to any of the police stations across the country.
Do not take the potentially fatal threat of the heat wave for granted, Tufton stated. As the country continues to experience record high temperatures, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is urging citizens to manage their exposure to the heat and not to take the threat for granted. Jamaica and other countries across the world have been facing a swelling heat wave. In countries such as India, Mexico, and the United States, scores of people have reportedly died from heat-aggravated conditions. Speaking in Parliament on July 11, Dr. Tufton said Jamaicans, especially those who work outdoors, should not ignore the potentially fatal threat of the heat wave. He also reminded Jamaicans that hydration is critical during this heat wave.
We are seeing record increases in temperatures, and so the public, and in particular the most vulnerable, include extreme ages, the young and the not so young, over 60s, persons with comorbidities, outdoor workers such as our farmers and construction workers are advised to take precautionary measures to reduce exposure to heat and to limit the serious effects it can have on the body. Outdoor workers in particular, now we may take this for granted because we assume that we are a construction worker, we're a farmer. It's important, obviously, it's our livelihood, but we can expose ourselves in an unlimited way. Heat wave, heat stroke is potentially fatal, and you don't realize it until you are out. So we would advise workers, persons who are working on the outdoors, to take the necessary precaution. Not saying that you mustn't work, but please manage your exposure to recognizing the potential threat that this heat wave represents. Hydration is critical. Water recommended as opposed to sugary drink or alcoholic beverages. Much better for hydration, the water that is. I know not everybody agrees with that, but that's the fact. For those of us who exercise regularly, like myself, do it early in the mornings or later at night. In fact, it is recommended that we avoid, where we can, the outdoors between 11 and 4 when it's most severe. Keeping to the shade as much as possible and ensuring that you get adequate rest. Rest is also important, as well as wearing lightweight, light-colored, loose-fitting clothing does help. And finally, Madam Speaker, for further information on this heat wave, firstly, you can watch the media space in terms of the temperature levels. Last week, we had 2 of the hottest days recorded in this country, and I believe in parts of the world, the hottest on record.
Dr. Tufton further noted that dengue cases down significantly in Jamaica. Vector control and public health workers are being commended for their vigilance in eliminating mosquito breeding sites, which had resulted in a decrease in dengue cases. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton told the lower house that the number of dengue cases has remained low since January.
Clients who present with fever and other symptoms may be suspected of having dengue fever. 100 suspected dengue cases with fewer have been reported since the beginning of 2023. So 100 or so reported cases since 2023, and half of these were hospitalized. There have been no confirmed cases of dengue-related deaths so far this year, Madam Speaker. Monthly numbers of suspected dengue cases have been below average throughout the year so far, which is good. A quarter of suspected cases this year were from Kingston and St. Andrew, another quarter from St. Catherine, and Trelawney recorded the highest rate of 6.3 per 100,000 population, followed by St. Catherine 4.8 per 100,000, Westmoreland 4.6 per 100,000. No confirmed deaths of dengue since 2020, and I want to pay tribute to the vector control team who go out with the fogging. Just to remind this Honourable House that this government invested the highest amount of resources in our vector control team since the last probably 25 years. We spent about $350 million, Honourable Prime Minister, with your support and the Cabinet, for new vehicles, new foggers, and we're seeing the benefits of that. No deaths of dengue since 2020. All the parishes, Northwest Manchester included. Although a decreasing trend in dengue cases is noted, the dengue season will begin toward the end of summer holidays, so precautionary measures should be taken. These include preventing mosquito bites, destroying mosquito breeding sites, and of course the Ministry will continue to reiterate that through our public education program and through the work of our field team in the respective parishes.
Education Ministry says 28,000 students will benefit from summer program. Approximately 28,000 students will benefit from the 2023 National Summer Program in schools, which got underway earlier this week. This was disclosed by Minister of Education Favour Williams, who indicated that the summer program runs from July 10 to 27. Mrs. Williams noted that summer school is being facilitated in 57 institutions using face-to-face and online modalities at no cost to parents. She explained that the summer school program is a lot more targeted this year than it has been last year.
We have 57 schools across the regions that are in operations. We are expected to impact some 7,800 students in the face-to-face modality and another 20,000 plus students in the virtual space. The difference between the face-to-face and the virtual: for the face-to-face, those are students who need support in terms of literacy and numeracy. And in the virtual space, those are students who are almost at mastery, still needing a little bit of support to get them into mastery. So we are expecting to reach approximately 28,000 students for our summer school this year.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share,